Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm as we continue on our quest for what is sensorality. We have our base word, sense. We have our general form of all solution, it is what it is. We have our specific solution, our range, our domain, sensorality, and now we're showing the iteration of all of the statements or contexts in which censorship, sensation, sexuality, sensuality, any type of those word forms of that word family could be used. Looking for this stabilizing, undeniable iteration of letters, we'll have a single logical statement and it will connect to another word. It'll be very clear linguistically, and it will preserve logic because we've demonstrated, or I guess I don't know how conceptualization is consistent. And so from conceptualization, right, that's where you produce your words, and then we use sounds. Language is consistent, and now we've even generalized it to concepts. Right, so sensorality is a concept. Before we put letters to censorship, we have this idea that we need to filter information, we need to restrict the filtration of information for certain reasons, for a whole litany of different explanations. And so we've demonstrated this consistency of language. We're exploring a bunch of these different facets, these different numeric limits, these different prefix, suffix, base words, how these exactly iterate, amalgamated words versus iterated words or integrated words. But now I really kind of take a step back and say, do we have, because what we're really doing in logically is we're creating, when we have these, where you derive down and you generalize up. So we have we're taking a bunch of little independent pieces, building up to sensorality, and now we're deriving down from sensorality. And so, in doing so, have we created a contradiction, right? We have sensorality with an S, we have sensorality with a C, but now we said, anything that ends with an OR, right, a censor, C-E-N-S-O-R, that you put ality, again, clearly ality is the generalizing suffix. And so you put ality at the end of censor, and then you get orality. So anything that ends in OR gives you orality, anything that ends in MOR gives you morality. And then we've said those are logically, unique to sentient life, which seems all well and good. But then, again, if it ends in OR, but it is to an inanimate object, right? Let's just take a meteor, for example, since we're doing astronomy, I guess, or physics. But, right, if you have a meteor, you have a meteorality, right? So how is a meteor sentient life? But that's the whole point is, again, remember, when we're doing this process of deriving down, everything is unique. So we'll get to a very clear linguistical point where two things won't be a word, but then like the opposites will be words or something. And so because language has been developed so mostly comprehensively, like when people are saying particle physics or, I hate saying, I want to use the QM words, but particle theory is, the most tested theory in history. I don't even like the word theory. I really hate even acknowledging structured physics as is, because it's wrong. I mean, it's demonstrably incomplete. We've demonstrated mathematical proofing to a level that's never been seen before. But point being is, this is the most demonstrated. It's the only consistent. Again, there are no theories. This is just language. Words have meaning. It's truly the most comprehensive logical statement we can say. And so we're doing this process of deriving up and down, or generalizing up and deriving down. There will be a clear, again, linguistical point where it connects these two words, but they're not words. And then we're just right back at words have meaning. So we're trying to get to that completing, again, that demonstration of completion is what I'm talking about. Because clearly we've established all of the logic as to what we're doing. We've established the linguistical elements as much as I can formalize them, and now we're just iterating until we get to that stabilizing theorem. But again, we've proven there are no false paradoxes. So I have this overarching, again, I don't know what you would call it, property, ending in OR, ending in MOR, ality at the end, you get orality and morality. And we said that's sensorality with an S. But sensorality with a C, censorship is there, and what is really going on? And I just have words are naturally defined. Did I personally, Brad, this guy right here, make a false distinction? Am I missing something? And clearly, because it's not complete, right? And then we were talking about what is completeness last episode. Well, we can just, again, start with evidence that we have, right? We have complete sentences. And so again, we're reducing a complete proof, the proof of sensorality, demonstrating its existence, demonstrating its applicability, and then reducing the entire structure. And that's what we've been doing for the past 5 years, actually. And so Like I said, it might seem like a long time, but 5 years in cosmological scales is nothing. And it doesn't, right? You're not studying vocab your entire life, or even a large portion of your life. And so all we're doing is learning a word. But what is a suffix to completeness? So now we have, again, this concept of a complete sentence. So we have examples of what completeness is. But I just was literally, I forget what title I put it, but I just, these amalgamated word. I put suffix and then suffixation. It's like just putting a suffix on a word. The process of putting a suffix on the word is suffocation. And then I was like, wait, so you see where I'm going with that because of the pronunciation of the sound, right? Then you heard suffocation. But then now, how about logically, suffixation, right? Well, then linguistically, you get the word fixation. And so again, what really is happening with this integration, amalgamation, or iteration/integrated words? Is that a false distinction? Something in this logical structure, again, this whole process we've created, all from the simple observation that nothing is touching, everything is connected. And so we're reducing this logical structure, but what, again, suffixation, you get fixation, and then I picked up deriving off of that. But you definitely heard the suffixation, you heard suffocation, and you also heard the fixation, right? I didn't really think suffixation was a word, but then linguistically it produces fixation, which is definitely a word we use. And so again, it's just we're building out the background linguistics of a simple sentence, a cliche, we've already said. We're just trying to connect all of these ideas together. So suffixation, fixation, right? A fixture is a structure. Fixed is set. The past is fixed, right? Now we're just modifying our own theorems that we derived 2-3 weeks ago. A fixation is an obsession. Speciality is obsessive. Speciality is sessivality. A session is a period. Sensorality is periodicality, right? Women have periods. Those periods synchronize, right? Again, showing you the biology and the linguistics, it's all consistent. Speciality is oddity. Special is odd. So now again, this is another reason why historically I'm very confident that God is referenced to a female. Again, both there's a substantial historical individual and then a law office that's formed around it. But right, God is odd, all right, and odd is different. And so if you have a long lineage of males and it's, the name is remembered, again, semantically I would have no idea what it means. But just some sort of leader, ruler, but God is odd. And you'll see that in my derivation for speciality, but it just means different. Different from what? All of the males that probably preceded her. But in general, special is odd. Okay, again, can we make that to some sort of statement? But again, I would say, can we generalize that to say, again, there's no even prime numbers. When we've talked about really prime, what you're differentiating there is this irreducibility property. But again, it's like we've already generalized all of these things. I'm just reiterating things I've already derived, derived, whatever the right word is there. Oblivion is ignorance. Speciality is ignorality. Again, we've already derived that one, just renormalizing, showing you these theorems. And again, they can come back to me naturally. It's not like the things I derived or drove, whatever, a month, 2 months, 3 months ago is like gone. I just don't have to consciously think about remembering it, because if it's relevant, it will pop back up. It's just, I don't know, it's just how it works. But then what is norality? Again, trying to play this amalgamated word versus integrated/iterated words. What do we do? Is that a false distinction? Is that something? It made sense when I did it, but is it consistent? Completeness is thorough, right? Thorough. Completeness finishes. Just ask your mom. Rough, just the way your mother likes it. Nope, just the way thorough likes it. Obviously, rough is based on thorough. Speciality is a fetish. Sensorality is authenticality. Authenticality is genuine. Arsenality is incendiary, right? And so now I want to, again, be more comprehensive than most people would. That is not a complete, incendiary to me is combustion. And so you can have an arsenal that isn't specific to combustion. But arsenality is incendiary. Senality is cindiary. Again, so a theorem like that where it's not like complete logic or something, but it's like more of one of these, all A's are B's, but not all B's are A's. All words or all verbs are words, but not all words are verbs. One of those exclusivity statements, right? An arsenal could be incendiary, but incendiary doesn't have to be an arsenal. You can have things that are combusting that are not used for warfare. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because again, we're just looking for this stabilizing, unique sequence of syllability that preserves our pronunciation, that gives us a new logical meaning. Yeah. But dissent, descend. So now, what is this difference when dissent, D-I-S-S-E-N-T, I sent something in the mail, I consent to something, or if I go down, descend, ascend. Just again, linguistically, the S-C-E-N-D versus the S-E-N-T. So again, we're trying to find that in our big deriving tree. There's logical out of bounds. And that's when we're on the very boundary, we'll see again these words that aren't words, but it'll be very, very clear as to what they produce. And then, so I can only do that once I get there. Now, it's not like I'm holding back. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure science team does. Again, I can't speed this process up and I can't slow this process down. It is truly time just has to pass for me to my intuition to build enough to state the answers. Sensorality is periodicality, returning to that. Sensorality is sensoricality. So now we get that soric. And again, I guess I don't know if it was specific, but that IC ending, again, pairs up nicely to cality. And so that's some form of the word. Again, all of these forms of the words are evident based on demonstrating this proof. Soric, abhorrent. Speciality is abhorrent. Horrent, torrential. You can see that O-R-R-E-N-T. I'm going to really stop. The linguistics should be obvious. Torrentiality is heavy, right? You have a torrential downpour. And so whenever time I'm renormalizing, when I just said torrential downpour, I'm pulling the context in which these words emerge because conceptualization is consistent. And then you just connect the different concepts and just say the words directly. Light is not heavy. A heave is a shove. Shove, shave. Shaving cuts, cutting trims. Right? Is light light? If I have a Budweiser and then I have a Bud Light. Right? Is Dylan Mulvaney still around? Whatever happened to that guy? Or gal, or whatever we're going by today. But, what are we saying by light? Right? It's less massive. Right? Is light light? Right? I have a whole episode called Light is Lit. Is light light? L-I-G-H-T, L-I-T-E. And yes, light has no mass. And I really think these words light and chirality are just the words that we don't have to use anymore. They're just it's either breaking something down past what is empirically true or being redundant in a way we don't need. But if it pops back up, we'll keep talking about it. Commonality is frequentality. Sensorality is frequentality. Sensorality is commonality. Right? Find the common denominator. Right? Sense is the common denominator. Hence, common sense. Hence. Nice. Just change the H to the S. Okay, so now here's another finishing up for today. Because you're going to remember, this is all novel stuff. Each time I sit down here and do this, it's new stuff. And to have 10 to 15 minutes of derivation, which again just comes from me from doing for about an hour of my work, is it's so much intuitive processing. And it's just 5 paragraphs. But that's again, 5 paragraphs. If you ask somebody at Harvard, go sit down and literally just write in order theorems, they would never even begin to start. But for our prefix, right, now we have this, just for example, protect, protectality, protectionality, right, that T-I-O-N suffix, shun, right, but it preserves the pronunciation of the word shun, right? What is censorship? Censorship shuns. And so another, again, I don't know what to make of these, but again, all of these prefix, because they're the end of the words, and again, I read English is presented left to right, reading and writing. And so the suffix at the end, at the right part of the word, is again, we're showing this complete iteration. That's what the demonstration will be. But connection, right, to shun is to censor. And currently, yeah, I have that with an S because, again, you're a choice. But now, again, I don't know if we've presented a logical conundrum. And again, we're presenting a false logical paradox. And now here's, okay, faux pas. This is what I derived over email the other night. Faux pas literally is false not, and is some sort of like, I literally stated it as the fundamental theorem of logic, right? Quoi est un faux pas? What is a faux pas? What is a false not? And so that's what we're doing, is we're forming a false paradox, something that's not true, or not true, or again, it doesn't matter. But a faux pas, that linguistical phrase literally means false not, and is like kind of what we're doing. Why is it in French? I don't know. But again, just whenever you most specifically describe an experience, it's going to be preserved in that language for a longer period of time. And then languages aren't consistent, it's the sound. We've proven that. That's not like a joke. But so we have that shun, protection. I literally just forget what I just said that was kind of important. Because like when I have these realizations, like I said, we're reducing these things. And once you prove something, you don't have to think about it again. Oh, the false not, the faux pas. But that's 100% as like why that came up. And I think I articulated it much better because like, right, first impressions matter. Like when I'm realizing things, that's why I'm emailing it to. It's like I'm trying to blow up your email. Not that I give a shit or respect you guys whatsoever. But like I said, it's a flood of information and it's not gonna stop ever. And so, so this proof will end, but then we just restart the process. There's going to be more words. I don't have to convince anybody of that. But that's 100% what a faux pas is, and that's kind of what we're producing. We're just deriving down, when I'm saying that uniqueness in our logic tree, there's going to be branches that are like out of bounds. Like it just like stops. Anyway, moving on, all right, connection, protection, that shun preserves the word shun. Connection, construction, right? Spelling a word defines a variable in context, or spelling a word constructs a variable. Construction, structures are constructed, right? That's a natural definition. Construct, concept. Sensorality is conceptuality. Concept, contact. Conceptualization is consistent. And now, let's return to our homework. I wanted to check in. I assigned you a theorem not too long ago. It was salivating moistens, or something to that effect. But it popped back up, so I just wanted to, if we have our 3 to 5 paragraph essays, go around the room. Who is salivating? What is moist? And just kind of, pick up that writing prompt there. And so, but again, demonstrating that conceptualization is consistent, and when people don't know what they're talking about, they're going to default. There's nobody to ask. This is what happens. You default to sexual analogies. You just do. I do it, you do it, everybody does it. Because our theorem of the universe, or our working model of everything, is not die, reproduce, think. And it's true. And that's never going to change. So that is what I have for you today. Felt like we made some good progress, as always. And again, like I said, this will end, like the From Rhythm to Algorithm series. Then we'll have to generate a new logical statement to iterate through. But people don't see how much more comprehensive each step of logic is. And so we'll never complete, right, From Rhythm to Algorithm. We're isolating the variable algorithm. But look at it again, like the skibidi toilets, aura, riz, like how much verbiage has been generated since we've been doing this proof. And so it's all, again, like I said, there's always more. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.